Hey everyone, so we're just going to wait for Jonathan Mast to come back. Had a little hiccup on my end. We will get him back. One moment. Thank you everyone for bearing with me. Okay, cool. So he should be back here shortly. Let me do an introduction again while we're waiting for him to come back. Jonathan Mast has grown a massive following on social media for AI. And I've been a part of his group for a long time. He provides a ton of value. I just want to learn how he's grown his group so fast, why he's so important in the AI space at 55. You know, some of our users, some people think, you know, I'm older, I don't understand AI. They think there's little hope for them. That's absolutely not true. Jonathan Mast is a testament to that. So we want to learn from him, and then we'll learn what his group is about, where he sees AI going in the future. And he'll get a chance to share some of his favorite tools and prompt expertise for us. So again, just waiting for him to come back. Go ahead and put something in the comments so I can see if I can see the comments here. This is my first time doing a joint two-person podcast style. So this will be an opportunity to figure it out and make sure we're good. Okay, I see Jane put something in the comments. Thank you. Justin, Randall, cool. Good to see you guys. Just waiting for Jonathan to come back. He and I were both in here. I messed it up, but we're back. Hey, Jed, cool, from YouTube. Nice. I'm just making sure he has the link. Cool. Way more people in here now. Live from YouTube. Sweet. So those of you just tuning in, we're a little late because I messed things up. This is my first time doing one with multiple people and doing it in an event. A lot of people couldn't find the event live that we had created. So instead, I had to just go live in the group. And in the process, had to boot Jonathan, and he hasn't come back in yet. So just waiting for him. I guess until then, until he comes back, let's see some questions from you guys on AI right now. Any AI news that you guys want to chat about, get things started? Here he is.
Oh,
there we go.
There we go.
Hey, so we're live. We have a lot more people in now. We have this 4 is from just YouTube, it looks like, but we have more in the Facebook group that are watching this. So we'll see the comments over here on the side, Jonathan, from YouTube.
Perfect.
I have my eyes on Facebook as well. So sweet.
Excellent.
I did a soft intro. Why don't you introduce yourself again?
Perfect. I've got 2 monitors going, so if I'm not looking directly at the camera, I apologize. We'll be trying to keep attention to everything. So yeah, my name's Jonathan. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and chat. As you mentioned, Bryce, you know, I'm kind of turned into the AI guy. What's interesting is, you know, about a year ago, last August, nobody really knew me for knowing AI. And really just tried to be focused on providing value to people, helping them learn how to use AI in very practical ways. I'm not an AI theoretician. I'm not trying to be a fear monger, not at all. In fact, I think AI is awesome. But I want to teach people how they can literally take things today and implement them in their business, in their lives, with their team, to save time. One of the things I found to be most effective, if I can show you how to save maybe 30 minutes today or even 60 minutes today, all of a sudden AI becomes a really valuable tool, because you go, man, if I could do that every day, what would that mean? And even better for anybody that's a business leader or a business owner, an entrepreneur, imagine if you could teach your team how to do that. I don't have a big team. I've only got 4 people on my team, but if they could all on average even save 30 minutes a day, that's 2 man hours or people hours every day. That's 10 people hours every week. That's an entire week of work every month that we're saving. And that means more time for them to either focus and do a better job, because I don't know anybody that has fewer tasks than they do time. Most everybody runs out of time before they run out of tasks. And or if they do run out of tasks, now they've got more time to get more things done, provide more value to our clients, whatever the case is, maybe do some continuing ed. I just think AI is just an amazing tool from that perspective to really be able to help businesses and their teams leverage their skill and experience and provide more value across the board.
Jonathan, how many people did you have in your group a year ago?
We were probably 3,000.
And I'll let you say the number now. How many now?
Well, let's go pull it up, because it changes by anywhere from 500 to 1,000 a day. Yeah, no, it's not over 1 million yet, but
it's like 250,000 people.
Yeah, we are at just about 250,000. Let me see here. So 238,900 as of right now. It's funny, just last week I had posted, when we breached 225, I was going to do a free training. So in a week, we've added almost 15,000 people to the group.
So everyone watching this wants to start their personal brand.
Yeah.
Just that is the thing to do to really own your space. A lot of the people watching are going to be agency owners. So a lot of them are trying to do that. How did you grow a group of 250,000 people in a year?
Well, I changed kind of my perspective. So instead of trying to sell to everybody all the time, I started off by trying to focus on adding value. And we're marketers. We know how that works. I needed a top of funnel. I needed something very low risk for my audience to raise their hand and basically go, hey, Jonathan, I'm interested in what you're doing. And I figured the best way to make that low risk was free. And so we started a Facebook group, because I work much like a lot of the agency owners here. And if you don't know, I came from the agency space. So I left that a year ago, and I came from the agency space. I work with a lot of business owners, and I know that a lot of them are on Facebook, because even if they're not on Facebook for business, they're checking up on their kids, they're checking up on their grandkids, they're checking up on their friends. And we're there socially. And so to me, being on Facebook as a business owner who serves other business owners is like trying to go to networking events that are maybe great causes in my community, the barbecue cook-off, the chili cook-off, whatever, where I'm going to have an opportunity to rub shoulders with people who might be my target audience. The benefit in this case is I had the opportunity to target them specifically with the type of content I created. Now, I mentioned target. I didn't pay for this. I paid for a little bit of advertising, but my entire ad spend, including all the courses I've advertised for and everything in the last year's, probably less than $1,200 total, not per month, but total. I just focused on adding value. And so if you can find out where your audience is hanging out, then add value. Make them think, wow, if this is what he does for free or she does for free, what might happen if I actually paid them? And that's how I grew the group.
Something I've gathered from you a little bit, you're still not even 100% clear on what you want to do. None of us really are. You do consultation calls, but before you even knew what you wanted to do, you knew what your audience was. And you just said,
correct,
I'm going to just provide these people value. So by the time I do have an offer, they'll already trust me. So
yeah, we didn't actually monetize the group until August of this past year. So literally we're in November now. So we've been monetizing it for 3 months. We spent the first entire year just literally adding value. Now I may have promoted a free webinar I was doing or, my podcast, but nothing that actually cost them money got promoted in that group. Everything was totally free, adding value, creating credibility. Kind of like you talked about, Bryce, it's becoming that go-to expert And one of my coaches, if you're in the agency world, a lot of people know Josh Nelson from Seven Figure Agency. He taught me very clearly, you need to be omnipresent. In other words, wherever your audience is at, you need to show up in front of them. And thankfully, I can say a year later, one of the most common things I hear when I get somebody on the phone that by the way, has reached out to me to schedule that appointment, not me saying, hey, please schedule an appointment with me. I need to talk to you. No, they're going on, they're finding ways. In fact, as of 2 weeks ago, they're actually paying for that first appointment with me because I was overrun with just tire kickers.
As of how long ago?
2 weeks ago. So as of 2 weeks ago, we started charging for you.
So that's how much value you've been giving to people.
Yeah. Yeah. And now my appointments dropped. They dropped significantly. I don't want to say they didn't, but the great news is since I started doing that, everyone that's been willing, and by the way, I charge $49 for 15 minutes. So that's good, bad, or indifferent. It's not really about the money. It's about the willingness of that person to part with some money for some value. And I'm happy to say that now my close ratio of those people that are signing up is over 90%. In other words, over 90% of them are going on to spend more money with me in coaching, consulting, masterminds, the things that I do to make my living. And again, what you said, I think is so true though, Bryce. You need to build an audience early. I'm older than you are, but I remember a book by Harvey Mackay called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. And one of the things that Harvey talked about in that book, by the way, if you haven't read it, it's been out for decades, but it's an amazing book. It talks about you need to prepare your audience and build your audience before you need it. It's so incredibly valuable. And that our goal wasn't to immediately start a group and start pitching our products in it. Like I said, we had the group for over a year before we ever made, to the best of my knowledge, before I ever made any type of paid offer. Now, like I said, we promoted our webinars and we promoted the things we were doing, our podcast, but none of those had any cost. So again, the risk for somebody to become part of my audience was zero to them. Now I do ask for an email address. Go ahead. Sorry.
What kind of value do you give, Jonathan? I know because I'm in the group. And by the way, for everyone watching, I'm going to share the link to that group in the recording. As well as his website. Everyone should not only join it, but invite literally all of your friends to this group because he shares gold for free in every single post. Every time I see your group pop up, I have to read it because it's always gold. But for everyone else, what do you share? What tools,
I share practical tips on how people can use the common AI tools. So, being an agency, we're getting pitched all the time about new AI tools here or there. And there's some great AI tools out there. In fact, one of them might just be CloseBot. No, it is. I mean, there's some great tools out there. But when we get started, we don't need to buy every possible tool. In fact, I teach people how to use ChatGPT and then Claude and Perplexity, two others that I really like, but ChatGPT to literally save that time that we were talking about, to save an hour or more every single day by just learning, how do I respond to this email better and faster? We've all got emails that we know we need to respond to, and we either don't want to take the time, don't know exactly how to say things as nicely as we want, or maybe to draw the right boundaries. Well, with ChatGPT, I can literally take that email, Bryce, that you sent me, and I can paste that in and say, I need to respond to Bryce, and I want to do so in a very professional way, but I also want to set these boundaries. And ChatGPT will write me an email that I probably need to edit less than 5 words on, and I can send that back, and it'll be better than I spent 30 minutes on it.
And the same is true. You're an expert. You know the prompts, so you share these prompts with people.
I share the prompts, and then I also share the framework that I use. I mean, I've developed I've written thousands and thousands of prompts, and I created a 4-step framework. Something for the agency owners on here. When you guys do something like that, by the way, brand that. So I call mine the perfect prompting framework. Yeah, maybe it's not so humble, but I call it the perfect prompting framework. It's not significantly different than any of the other frameworks that are out there. But now it's my framework. So nobody else is selling the perfect prompting framework. By the way, I give it away for free. It's 4 simple steps. I'll share it with everybody here on the call. You tell ChatGPT what type of expert it's supposed to be. And by the way, you can use any AI model for that. You then give it relevant background information. Think of it like you're working with somebody. Bryce, if you and I are working on a project, I don't just walk up to your desk and say, let's write a press release and turn around and walk away. And you're going, well, for who? And what are we supposed to talk about? And who's our audience? And I go, no, figure it out. But that's what we do with AI all the time. We just give it our question and we assume it's going to read our mind. So we want to tell it what type of expert. So if we're running a press release, you're an expert copywriter specializing in writing engaging press releases. I want to write a press release for my company announcing the release, or maybe our new office, a new hire, whatever that may be. Tell it what it is. Then the third step is your normal prompt. It's write me the press release. And the fourth step, and this is what I rarely see, so this is different than most, give it permission to ask you questions. So I end almost every prompt with, ask me any clarifying questions you have. And the reason I do that is AI, just like we as humans, the more information it has, the better it can respond to our query. But yet sometimes I readily admit, I don't know what I should tell it. I don't know.
Yeah, the more relevant
information. Yeah.
And it knows what's relevant. You don't necessarily want to load a bunch of stuff in and say it'll know what's relevant. It'll figure it out.
That's bad, because then it gets confused, just like we do as humans. If you give me 30 things and only 12 of them are relevant to my job, or 3, then I'm going to get confused. It's going to waste time. Give me those 3 and then we're good. And if you don't know it, the neat thing is, again, it's like me going to you, Bryce, and say, Bryce, let's say you're an expert at writing press releases. Bryce, I need to write a press release. What do you need to know? And you're going to go, well, I need to know what it's about. I need to know who we're targeting, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You're going to then come back and tell me the 3 or 4 key things that I need to ask. And by adding that last part to your prompt, that's all you're literally doing that. You're telling ChatGPT, ask me what questions you need in order to give me the best response. And the quality of your responses from AI will absolutely skyrocket.
So you tell it what position it is.
Yeah, what type of expert?
You give it information it needs to know. You tell it
context,
the job, and then you tell it, ask me any questions.
Bingo, that's it. You can do that with any objective out there. In fact, most of the prompts that I write now, Bryce, in fact, most of them that I share in the group, I literally have an AI model set up that follows those 4 steps, and I give it an objective, and it then spits out, for lack of a better, a prompt that follows that. And the feedback I get from the people in the group, and I give those away for free. The feedback I get was, oh my gosh, I don't know how you came up with this. And it's like, it's just following that. Doesn't matter really what the topic is. If you follow those 4 steps, you're going to get an amazing response.
So what's really cool about you too, like all of us, 3 years ago, you probably knew nothing about AI. Is that true?
When ChatGPT first came out, I thought it was a chat tool to add to my website, and I ignored it for about 2 months. I had people all over going, you've got to look at this ChatGPT thing. And I'm like, you know what? At the time we were using Go High Level, they had a nice little chat feature. They still do. I don't need another chat feature. It already works. I don't need anything else. And so literally for the first couple months it was out, I never even tried it because I didn't know what it was.
And you're how old now?
I'm 55, and I'm happy to say,
which is not old, guys.
Oh, no, it is. It's all right. You can say it's old. I'm good with that.
No, you're not. We have so many users that are, in their 50s, even 60s, and they're like, they always come in and they say, I doubt I can understand this because I am insert age here. But don't put that limiting belief on yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like if they have that limiting belief, you guys, if you're if you're in your 50s, even if you're in your 30s and you feel like you're too old for this, join Jonathan's group, and he makes it so simple for people to understand, to start to implement this, because it's not going away. So we can talk a little bit about the future of AI. Yeah, where you think things are going. I know Sam likes to announce things, and recently announced that they feel like they're on to AGI. First of all, can you explain to us what AGI is, and then what you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say BS into my cough there, but so I think Sam Altman, who happens to be the CEO of OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, if you're not sure, I think he's a great marketer. I don't believe anything he says, because I think it's all being said to either for the competition to get them to do something, or for his clients. Good example is, and I just recently did a video on this, calling it ChatGPT's vaporware. All of the announcements they've made this year that they said were coming tomorrow, or soon, and that either haven't happened yet, nearly 6 to 9 months later, or that took 90 plus days to be released. And they then said nothing about it after they
What
said,
are some of
oh,
those
by the way,
tools?
we've got this brand new feature you're getting. And then for 90 days, you heard nothing. And then it just showed up. So I don't believe Sam Altman very candidly when he says AGI is next year. No, it's not. I just don't believe that, not for a moment. But if I can, for just a moment, I want to address the other thing. You mentioned about being too old, but I also want to talk about the future. Maybe some of you are out there thinking, you know what, I already missed the boat. It's too late. AI it's come and sailed. No, it hasn't. There's still so few businesses and so few people really using AI. Yeah, we've all got our phones, and many of us have downloaded ChatGPT, and we've played around with talking to it, and it's been fun. But I would, and I don't have a number, but if I were to make up a statistic, as of course entrepreneurs are good at doing, my seat of the pants would tell me that less than 3 to 4% of the businesses out there are actually using AI to save them time, make money on a daily basis. I don't know what you've seen, Bryce. You see a lot of people as well, but I want to really impress some people. It's not too late.
It's not too late at all. Not too late. We just feel like everyone knows about it because we've surrounded ourselves with the type of people who know about it. So we feel like 99% of people know about it. That's just because those are the people in our sphere. Most people aren't in our sphere.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we're living there every day, and most people aren't. They're doing other things. It's no real difference as a digital marketer when we think, everybody's doing email drip campaigns because we've been doing them forever, and we know how easy it is with tools like High Level and HubSpot and others like that to put them together. Nobody's going to want to pay us to do that, and I've heard umpteen digital marketing agencies say that. Well, they don't, though. Even though it's been around, they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to implement it. They don't want to learn how to implement it. I'll use my car as an example. I know I could change the oil in my car. It's not something that's beyond me technically. Most everything else in the car is, but changing the oil I could do. I still don't change my oil. I pay an exorbitant amount of money to drive into a place where I can roll down my window and somebody can crawl underneath my car and change it for me because I don't want to be an expert at that. I don't want to have the oil wrenches and the pans and figure out what to do with the oil when it's gone and any of that stuff. So I'd rather just go ahead and log in and take care of it. And it's simple, and I don't have to mess with it. I can literally drive in and they're going to take care of that for me for a few bucks. And that, I think, applies in almost every area of life for us as business owners.
And we're in a unique environment where you and I know infinitely more about AI than most business owners. So it makes it really easy to sell your service. If you're talking to a business owner and they ask any question they can conceive, most of the people watching this will know the answer. They'll know what AGI stands for. They'll know what AI can and can't do. So when you can answer those basic questions to a business owner that has no idea what AI is, they're going to say, whatever it is you're selling, sign me up because
Correct.
I need to use it and I can't imagine how to start. So they need you.
Yeah. Well, and on that, I want to point out that one of the big changes that we've seen is that a year ago, a lot of business owners weren't so keen on AI. They didn't know about it. It was new. They were a little scared, maybe a little leery of it. But now we're seeing the exact opposite, especially in the digital marketing world with the agencies that we work with. And I'm guessing you're seeing this too, Bryce. Now, many of those same customers are like, I want you as my agency to be recommending AI-based solutions. I need an AI-based chatbot on my website. I need to integrate AI into my lead flow and in my responses and all those things. I want you to be using AI as you're helping craft my content. But they expect you to be proficient and an expert at it. But it's literally gone from a year ago, people going, I don't know, to now it's a selling point where it's a way to differentiate your agency from your competition because you can speak eloquently and professionally about it and deliver value to them. And that's what those clients are looking for.
Yeah. I want to take a little bit of time now. We touched on the future. I want to touch on the past, and then we'll come back to the future.
Sure.
Has anything surprised you about the trajectory of AI over the past 2.5 years?
Well, it's certainly gone super fast, but I can't say that's really surprised me. I think if anything has surprised me, it's the fact that Google's fallen flat on their face as far as AI is concerned in my book. I know there are people that disagree with me, but let's face it, guys, Google has all of the data needed to become the absolute behemoth in this area. And the only AI product I don't recommend people use is Google Gemini, because in my experience, it's cantankerous. And when I say cantankerous, I mean, it will literally do what you want. And then you'll ask it to do it again, and it'll say, I'm sorry, I'm a large language model, and I'm not trained to do that. And you're like, but you just did it. Yeah, well, I won't do it again. And then you can tell it, but you just did it. And it'll go, I'm sorry, I'm a large language model and I'm not trained to do that. And, I want to literally throw my computer out the window when I use Google Gemini. So I'd say the surprise I've had has really been in that area, in the fact that that's the case. I think the other surprise I've had, AI, we can also use AI to create images, and images are a ton of fun and it's great to do. I'm still surprised how difficult it is for 98% of the image generators that are out there to get text spelled correctly. I'm amazed that, and I'm also amazed how hard it is for them to do consistent characters. In other words, if I develop a mascot or an image that I want for my business to use, I get this question almost every day in our Facebook group. How do I create this consistently? And the reality is it's trial and error, because they've gotten better and we've certainly improved in the last year here, but it's still very difficult to get the same, for example, a character in different poses or wearing different outfit or in a different scenario. It's very difficult to do that consistently.
You've done a good job. I look at you usually have an image on your posts,
Yeah,
and there are characters, and I've seen them recur. So you have something figured out.
yeah, it's the 1 to 100 reality. In other words, I literally create probably on any given week 1,000 images or more, and I probably use somewhere between 40 and 50. So I accept the fact that certainly 1 out of every 4 images at most is going to be usable, and it's probably closer to 1 out of 10.
So I'm hearing a similar opinion that I have. I've been surprised at how dumb AI still is. You've said it takes you 1,000 iterations to get 40 to 50 images you can use. People that haven't used AI enough feel like it is gaining sentience and AGI is on the way and all this stuff. But those of us who have, we're seeing millions of messages come through our system on a recurring basis. And I am
absolutely
at how dumb it can be still 2.5 years later, especially while Sam Altman is talking about AGI being just around the corner.
Yeah, remember, Sam Altman is trying to get businesses to invest billions of dollars and to have their public value go way up. And the best way to do that isn't by releasing the best software. Let's face it, Microsoft has proven that for decades. They make decent software, but they don't make the best software.
Ooh,
yeah, it's just reality. It's my opinion. You guys can disagree with me. That's fine. But, Microsoft's probably a good example. It's a great company overall. They make good software. I use Microsoft Office and a lot of their tools. But I don't ever remember anybody ever claiming that Microsoft made the best spreadsheet or the best word processor or certainly the best email client. Now, it's the best for some people, but they make a really good one. And they're wonderful at marketing. And they're wonderful at tying things together. And Sam Altman's doing that same thing. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for him to make billions and billions of dollars for him and their shareholders. And he's trying to play that like a fiddle. I'm not mad at him for doing that, but I'm also taking everything he says with a grain of salt, understanding that when he talks about Sora, their new video tool that you're going to be able to type text and have these incredible videos come out. By the way, he did that last spring. They haven't talked about it since. Okay. It's nowhere near being released as far as we can tell. That was done for investors. That wasn't done for you and I. And when he talks about AGI, he's trying to make the investors believe, in my opinion, I don't know this, but he's trying to make the investors believe that they're on the leading front of everything AI because the money is following the leaders.
And they don't know. The investors aren't working with AI every day, so they would have no idea.
Those of us that are working on it, the new voice models that ChatGPT came out with, again, that were announced in May or June and were delivered in October. But the new voice models, they're impressive the way they work and what they do. but they're by no means, in my opinion, anywhere nearly close to being AGI. And I candidly, personal opinion only, I think we're a long ways away from AGI. I just don't see that happening anytime soon. Like you said, I'm still amazed that how dumb AI can be on occasion. I've got much like you, I create things in AI that are supposed to be replicatable. You guys make some of the best bots that are out there. I try to work with clients. I've got one, for example, and they want to be able to take data and have it summarize that data and rewrite it in a different format. We've given them literally meaning ChatGPT, hundreds of samples to follow, a very specific format that we want it to follow. And it does about 80% of the time. The other 20% of the time, it doesn't even come close. And you'll ask it, why? Why, for example, did you throw an extra vertical divider line in this content? I don't know. I'm not supposed to do that. I'll stop.
Yeah.
And then you'll do it again. And 10 times later, it'll do it again. Or you'll say, this last part, we gave you 37 different variations to use and gave you permission to change any of those as long as you keep the overall context. But you've picked 2 of them that you use every time. Why? Oh yeah, I forgot. I mean, it'll literally respond with those things. So that's like you said, that's probably the part that surprised me. If ChatGPT can't figure out how to take 20 variations of a phrase and create random versions of that are similar, then we're nowhere close to AGI.
Let's take 5 minutes. I want to do a rapid fire of a couple questions. I'm going to ask you a few questions and just give me like a 5 to 10 second answer, and we'll go through these.
Okay.
Favorite book?
Good to Great.
Favorite company producing LLMs?
Anthropic.
Favorite model out of any of the companies?
Perplexity.
Your best tool to use for your business? No context.
ChatGPT, if I got to pick one.
Okay. Type of tool that people should ignore right now? Not ready yet.
Boy. I think it depends on expectations. I'm going to take a punt on this one. I'm sorry, Bryce, but if your expectations are in line, I think the tools are all doing an amazing job. The core tools, I would say the ones to avoid are those that are putting lipstick on a user interface and using the same thing. And there's a ton of those out there that are just putting lipstick on top of ChatGPT and telling you that it's some brand new version they're selling for 5 times more money.
Yeah. Good. Those are all great answers. I have been so focused on the tech space. I have generated maybe a dozen images in the past 2.5 years. Yeah, 2.5 years. I've never tried any video stuff, or I'm very text-based. So ignoring anything text tool, what are some tools that I should look into for images, content?
Great question. I think it depends on what type you want to create. I think there are 2 runaways as far as quality of imagery that you want to look at. One is called Midjourney. It's been around for a long time. Whether you want photorealistic images, you want cartoons, you want watercolors, there's hundreds of styles. Are they still on their Discord? They are, but they have a web server now, and the web service is available. Both, so you can do it either or. It used to be it was hard to get started because I can't even begin to describe how it worked. It was just difficult.
It was weird.
It was very weird. There's a new contender on the block, and by new contender, the last probably 3 to 4 months, called Flux, Flux.
Oh, I've seen
and Flux is very interesting because it's actually a model that you can download and run locally if you have a honking computer, or you can just pay for API usage and use it. As an agency, what I would encourage agencies to look at, because let's face it, when we're creating marketing assets for our clients, we never have the right photo and we never have what we need of them or anything else. Flux has the ability to what's called be trained in a LoRa, L-O-R-A, and I won't get into what all of that stands for, but basically you can take a dozen or more images of a product, of a person, whatever, and you can upload those and train Flux to understand that look. Now, I've always had difficulty with that because my beard AI models don't do well with beard. What happens is they basically do this much of it and they leave off all the rest. And so when I'm doing things, and my beard looks really weird because this
That
outer part of
ruins
my
it.
beard
That's your look.
never, yeah, it never changes. But if you train a flux model, and again, you can train it on product images or people, you now can go in and you can create, I can put myself in almost any situation that I want and create images. So that can be me speaking on stage. It can be standing on the street in New York. It can be in where 90% of me is a robot and a cyborg and it's my head on top of it.
I've seen
I've
that
done
one.
all of these.
Yeah.
And as an agency, I think that's one of the best skills we can learn, because let's say we're running Google ads for somebody or Facebook ads. If you're running Facebook ads, I know a little bit more about that, not a lot. So if I'm wrong, bear with me. But if we're running Facebook ads, one of the best type of images is a selfie style image. We know that gets people to stop as opposed to most anything else. Well, I don't have 100 different selfies that I can use for my average client. But if I train Flux to do that, now I can, for every client I have that I get 12 or more images from and make it work, I can now create them. So I can have them standing in front of Wrigley Field. I can have them standing on a beach in Florida. I can have them on the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. It doesn't matter. And I can create them in seconds. By the way, the average cost to create those is about 5 cents.
So can you have like different files? Like this is the Jonathan one, this is the Bryce one, then going to
Absolutely.
the Jonathan one. And do they give you any insight on the back end? Like, is you uploading those photos, do they like create a secret prompt that is appended
No,
that
it's
describes that, or is
they
it actually modifying?
they create what's called a trigger word or trigger phrase. So in when I do it for people, I just use their first name, middle initial, and their last name. So not mine's is, now it won't work for you. You couldn't put Jonathan J. Mast in yours and you won't get one that looks like me because you don't have that model. I do, because I've trained it. So it is fairly private. It's not like anybody's going to get access to it. But now when I go in, if I want to, for example, be standing on a street corner in New York surrounded by a bunch of yellow taxis, I would create my normal image prompt for a man with a white beard standing on a street corner in New York City surrounded by yellow cabs. And then I would just say, instead of saying a man, I would say Jonathan J. Mast standing on a street corner. And it will then grab my beard, my glasses, my funky eyebrows, my receding hairline.
That's a trigger word within your account. It allows
within my account. Exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
So I think that's one of the coolest things out there at the moment. Then you can take those images, by the way, and you can go to a tool like Runway or others, and I can create a 5 to 10 second video clip, not with audio, but like a B-roll clip or something like that. So I did one in New York, and the cabs were moving, and I was standing there on the corner. And again, some work and some don't. Some got a little weird. We had one where the cabs were like running over each other, not crashing, but just like melding and going on. So they're not all perfect. But I did one of me standing on the beach, and then I said, uploaded the Runway and said walking along the beach, and it took my image and it literally animated that photo and made it look like I was walking along the beach.
So Flux to Runway is really powerful. And Flux alone, if you're just images, Flux to Runway if you need clips. How long? If
you need that video clip, yeah, 5 to 10 seconds on average is about what you can get.
Perfect. And you could like create several of them to create like a clip.
Yeah, you could stitch them together, or we're using some, for example, I did a number of the images of me standing on stage speaking, because I don't have enough of those images, because just, I was in Baltimore last week and I was speaking to a group in Baltimore, but there was nobody in the stage or in the crowd that I knew to go take pictures of me. And I didn't really want to hand my cell phone away. So I don't have any pictures of me speaking in Baltimore, but now I can use AI to replicate that. And when we're doing reels and things like that, we can pull those in as B-roll. Again, it works super, super well. It's super easy to do, and it's very affordable. Again, those average clip, you're going to spend 25 to 50 cents to create a clip like that. Maybe you throw 3 of them out to get one you like, so it might cost you $2. Where else am I going to get a video, B-roll video clip of me or my company or whatever for $2? It just isn't going to happen.
That's amazing. Let's give some people time. If you want to put in the comments, ask questions. Jonathan, this is a really unique opportunity to ask questions for him. One person put in voice AI. So while we have other questions that come in, let's get your opinion on voice AI, what it's capable of, what it should be used for.
I think there's two different ways we can look at it. So one, voice AI can be referred to as the fact that we can now speak to ChatGPT and other apps like that in natural voice, which is a great way to interact with them because it saves time. And I find it actually gets better responses because we give it more natural communication. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is literally where we can replicate voices using tools like 11 Labs, and there are others. But for example, I can upload as little as about 3 minutes of audio from me. I could literally just take aspects of our interview here, Bryce. I could upload my portion of that, and it would then mimic my voice. And I could then start typing out things and having me say anything that I wanted. It could say, I think Google has the absolute best AI in the world, something I wouldn't say, but you could type that out and it would now sound very much like me. My wife and kids would know it was different, but chances are most of my peers wouldn't. They would just go, oh yeah, that's Jonathan's voice. And so if you train it with more data, it can even get far better in that. So I think, again, we're probably a word of warning more than anything else when it comes to news is don't believe what you see or hear anymore because it's not necessarily accurate. I think it's one of the best arguments why we all as business owners need to develop a strong personal brand though, Bryce, because knowing that our competition could do that to us, we need to make sure we have such a strong personal brand that if I came out and said Google had the best AI, everybody'd go, oh, that wasn't Jonathan. He'd never say that. Even though they heard me say it, they would just go, he's not going to say that. He tells me how much he thinks they failed. So I think that's one just good argument why I'm not the personal branding guy, but everybody on this call needs a strong personal brand to help protect them against that should it happen in the future. Wow.
Times are changing. And pair that with, like, my parents know nothing about AI. If they see a rumor that a politician said something, they believe it's true. But now taking it to the next step, they're actually going to hear from these politicians' mouths something that may not be something they said. So
they will likely be able to see it on video. I mean, the capabilities are there today that you can take any politician. I don't care who you voted for last week if you're in the US listening to this, whether it was Kamala Harris or Trump. I'm not here to get political, but I could make both of them say things that you would never believe and would sound and look like them. Now, it would take some time, but the tools are available to do that today. That's why, again, that personal brand is so important.
So personal brand, extremely important, especially, for people like you that are gaining a massive following. People need to know what you do and don't stand for clearly.
100%.
And then understanding AI yourself. So what to look for to see what's true and not true. You have the intelligence to ask questions before blindly believing a video clip of a politician saying something, because you know what's possible with AI.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, again, as agency owners, especially knowing that's a lot of your audience here, Bryce, you want to be perceived as that go-to expert in your niche, whether you're a generalist or a niche specific. You want people to search you out because you're the best at what you do. Bryce, in your case, part of the reason you and I got connected is because CloseBot's got such an incredible reputation for doing such a great job. It wasn't because, you and I met on a street corner and then we decided to talk. That brand is so important, but the personal brand's even bigger than your business brand, because unless you're Disney or Nike, and let's face it, very few of us as agencies are or even aspire to that. That means that many people are choosing to do work with us because they're choosing us individually. I'll use Gary Vaynerchuk as a great example of this. So Gary Vaynerchuk, most everybody knows of him. They've heard of him. Whether they listen to him or not doesn't matter. The name probably resonates. He talks about all kinds of things on video. Gary Vaynerchuk owns a marketing media company called VaynerMedia. He rarely, if ever, talks about VaynerMedia, yet VaynerMedia is one of the largest agencies in the world. Not because people go to VaynerMedia, it's because they hear about Gary Vaynerchuk. And they go, I want to work with Gary and his team. And then if you want to work with Gary and his team, that's now VaynerMedia. But Gary's not out there talking about, I'm Gary Vaynerchuk of VaynerMedia. I don't think I've ever heard him say that. He doesn't talk about VaynerMedia very often. In fact, I had to go search it out to find out what he did. But again, a prime example, and there are others that are out there like that. Neil Patel. Neil has an entire agency, NP Digital. Now, yes, it's after his name. I get it. But Neil's not generally out there pushing NP Digital. He's out there talking about the things that Neil Patel does. And I could go on and on and on with other examples of that. Sean Cannell on YouTube, he owns Think Media. He talks about it occasionally, but he presents himself as Sean Cannell because that's what people want to know. That's who people want to connect with. And as a result, they do business with him and his team, but it's first that personal connection that's made. It's like, wow, I like Sean, I like Neil, I like Gary, whomever it may be. And then they find out about the company and how they work with them. So that's a little different than I think a lot of us as agencies look at it. We're often trying to promote our company, and that will work. But I think especially today with the amount of information that's out there, be different. And the best way to be different is to be yourself and promote your personal brand.
Yeah, I love that. That's been a big way we've grown too, just by accident, going live every day in our group, giving updates. And then I record a personalized video for everyone that makes a CloseBot account. So people came to know me, and I feel like that brought me close to my users and grew trust. And that's probably a reason why your group has grown so fast too. Not only are you providing a lot of value, but you are a person that people believe in, and they see the no BS front and they can stand behind that. So the value in standing behind a person they can believe in.
Yeah, and I know we're talking a lot about AI, but on that front, if I can just add one more comment, be authentic, your warts and all, guys. If you mess up, just admit to it. People will resonate with you when they realize that you're like them. You don't have to have perfect lighting. Proof positive by mine today. I just moved and my lighting's all messed up right now. It's okay. It'll work. You don't have to be a model. I'm overweight and I'm old and I've got a beard and a receding hairline and glasses and funky eyebrows, and people still pay attention to my videos. It's about the value that you bring. Don't try to be perfect. Just do it.
Yeah. Be real.
Oh, yeah.
To grow your personal brand, give value, the rest will follow. Be authentic.
100%. Yeah.
I love it. Well, any parting words for people? Why don't you take a moment to list your websites and groups that you want people to find you on, Instagram handles. Where can people find you?
The easiest way to do it is just go to my website. It's jonathanmast, just my name.com/linktree. And if you go there, you'll see ways to book time with me, to schedule, to connect with my email list, my groups, tons of free resources. Some paid coaching programs are listed there as well, but there's tons of free resources. Just go there and you can connect with me on any of the socials. Like you said, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on all those. Yeah, I can't call it X, I'm sorry.
But if they go to jonathanmast.com.
But just go to jonathanmast.com/linktree. Everything you need will be there.
You'll find everything.
Yeah.
Okay. That's perfect. I went there as well. There's a calendar right there for people to book time with you. All your socials are there. I would encourage everyone who wants to eventually book a time with Jonathan to hop on, because I guarantee you that price of the first meeting is going to have to go up soon. You're going to have 60 hours a week of $50 calls, and you're going to have no time to do the work. So book.
Well, and again, I appreciate the kind words, but I just want to say it's proof that doing this works in my mind, because I'm blessed to be in a situation where I don't have to go out and make a ton of cold calls every day now. I don't have to constantly chasing people. I've literally got people booking calls to sit down and ask me questions that are excited when I pitch them about things that cost them more money, because they've already agreed that it was worth parting with a few dollars to chat with me. And, yeah, at some point it's not about the money up front, because but I don't want, I had too many tire kickers. I had too many people that were getting on and taking 15, 30 minutes, and then there was no opportunity there. And I do tons of free stuff, as you know, so that's not an issue. But those calls, I needed to start figuring out how to get more time. And again, it's not because of any dollars I'm spending on advertising and everything else. It's because for whatever reason, what I'm saying is resonating with people, and every person listening to this live stream can do the exact same thing.
Well, I know just on this call, I mean, we have people in the comments saying, oh, Jonathan Mast, I love him. Oh yeah, Jonathan Mast. Oh, I'm part of his group. Like, you have a following everywhere. So what you're doing is working. People should listen, be authentic, build a personal brand, give value, and you could end up just like Jonathan Mast with 250,000 people in your group and people begging for your time and willing to spend whatever money it takes to get there. So
I don't think we're quite at the whatever money, but we're at least willing to spend money. So we're happy about that. You know, we're good with that. That's all right. You know, it helps pay the mortgage. So it's all good.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. We really appreciate you. The recording of this will be available, everyone. So we had a couple people that missed it and we're begging for the recording. That will be available. Make sure you reach out to Jonathan Mast, jonathanmast.com/linktree, find all his socials, book your time with him before it's no longer available. And I'll see you guys in his group.
All right. Thanks, Bryce. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jonathan.